let's now take you to the Miller Road residence of former governor of Kano State, Robbie Musa Kwankwaso, where we had, well, the term is political bigwigs, and the person of Peter Obi. You had Governor Seyi Makinde. Okay, let me start again. Peter Obi of the ADC, Governor Seyi Makinde of the PDP. They had Seraki Dixon of the NDC, as well as others converging. And it's quite interesting what we're seeing play out. The question is, will Robbie Musa Kwankwaso of the NNPP, which is going through its own fair share of dispute right now, choose the ADC coalition to join, or choose the PDP, which is embattled right now, or, guys, the NDC, which we must say is now beginning to show itself as, well, we are new, we are terrible, there is no dispute yet. So like maybe we could just be a viable platform, because even the ADC itself is going through its own fair share with Nafiu Bala, Gombe. Yeah. You know, with the back and forth. So it looks like wherever you turn to, whichever opposition party you turn to, there is some dispute, one dispute or the other.
There's something somebody said that, accusing the APC that as soon as any big wig enters any political party, APC will send his own faction to go and set up camp in that party.
Just as they gifted Governor Adeleke a faction of the Accord right after his defection.
The president and the APC as a party have constantly denied. I interviewed one professor, said, well, because when I put it, I was with Felix Morkan, the professor, and they said, look, he doesn't have evidence, but he believes that the APC is playing a game. Anyway, let's talk about this. Whoever gets Kwankwasiyya movement is a big plus in terms of political capital. They've been very consistent in the numbers, and this is where we must understand that this is not law, this is not morality, this is not policy, this is not whether the governance is ruling well or is ruling badly. Politics is about numbers on this particular one, so let's stay with this. They've constantly shown that they have capacity to give big numbers consistently when it comes to this Kwankwasiyya movement. Abdullahi Ganduje almost lost his re-election. It was this close to lose. In fact, some people said they rigged that election in his favor. Of course, the courts did not endorse that it was rigged. The court said he won that election. Then Abba Yusuf came and won that election. And then in that same election, we saw how Kwankwaso got over 1 million votes as far as this election, last election is concerned. But let's listen to what they are chanting. You can see, me, I'm just looking at the numbers in terms of politics. The difference between President Bola Tinubu and Atiku Abubakar in the last election was about 1.8 million votes. So if somebody can pull in 1 million votes, whether it's APC that is able to get the Kwankwasiyya movement, or is this ADC, whichever political party is able to grab this group has an asset in itself. And it's also a good plus for Obi, who, for instance, he's not done very well in getting inroads into the north. His strength is in the south. but Bola Tinubu, the president, was able to, have his strength in the parts of the south and then consolidate in parts of the north. Because in this game, it's not emotion, it's not sentiment. It's about understanding how the numbers and the sentiment of the people play out to be able to get. So one of the biggest brides right now that everybody's putting a good bright price on is the Kwankwasiyya movement. So let's see how it plays out in the long run.
Well, traditionally, maybe more historically, especially since a return to democracy in 1999, Kano has always held the ACs with its block votes of, 1 million, sometimes surpassing 1 million.
1.9 in 2015. 1.9.
1.9
without an invalid vote.
Oh, interesting. So, but Jeffrey, remember that the defection of Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf has sort of changed the dynamics, however slightly it did, because he went with a portion of the Kwankwasiyya movement. Whether we like it or not, some of the Kano APC went with Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf. And then there is a division with the NNPP itself, with the Boniface Anembonam group, the founder of the NNPP himself, challenging the Kwankwaso-led movement of the Kwankwasiyya movement for the party structure. So what is the percentage of the movement that these two divided groups have gone with from the Kwankwasiyya movement? We cannot particularly tell from the numbers now until we get to the elections in 2027. But they would need a miracle to pull off a victory against the All Progressives Congress because of the challenge of structure. Yes, indeed, Obi pulled up a huge movement with the Labour Party in 2020 to 2023, and we've seen that movement traditionally remain loyal to him, and anywhere he goes, they go with him. But can they repeat that feat in 2027? If indeed they're able to do that, they would need a strong alliance of, a coming together of a number of opposition groups besides the Kwankwasiyya movement before that miracle can be achieved.
Well, guys, this is good to see. I must say, the game needs to get to that point where everyone is put on their toes. Whether or not this is feasible is another thing. But I see a lot of things playing out here. There's the economy of mobilization right here, which is something you see in the build-up to the elections, which is crowd, the purchase or the engagement, or whatever you want to call it, of crowd. Some will tell you that this is organic. Maybe it is, but more importantly, I want a crowd now that goes beyond just dancing, chanting or screaming. I want a crowd that is able to show the politicians that we mean business this time around. Enough of campaigns where you just come and dance and wave broom around and just say random things, okay? What we want now is viable alternative. Let us speak to the issues. I want a crowd that would hold the politicians to task. And if what you're saying doesn't make sense, we're not clapping. We're not chanting because it's not resonating with us. What are you going to do to the economy? What are you going to do with security? We want to hear you first. If it makes sense, we may clap. If we need to go back home and cross-check, we would hold our clap. But enough is enough of yes, yes crowd for the ruling party. And I know this is tough because a lot of the crowd, they are usually purchased. There's a whole economy around mobilization.
Economy of protest.
Yeah, well, yes, there's a protest, but this is mobilization for politics.
Yeah.
But really, and this is for everybody, when we go for campaigns or we go for rallies or we go for town halls, you see people clapping and you ask, did you understand what the candidate or the aspirant just said? Why are you clapping? Enough is enough of being taken for a fool, and it's important that we show that we're not fools anymore. We cannot be taken for granted, and that is my own plea. But it's good to see this. I like the way Peter Obi played the northern politics. Say, let us put Kano back in the center. I want the ruling party to see this and say, hey, we must mean business, and whoever is better should win at the end of the day.
Let the best man win at the end of the day. Guys, for me, I just thought about it now that we missed. I do not know, to be very fair, to be very sincere, whether that is a role of INEC, to be very sincere. But ideally, I'm just thinking that maybe we'll miss an opportunity, if it is a role of INEC, perhaps it's not, to see how we can legislate debates or media engagement to say, before you are president, you must engage in, say, minimum of 6 to 7 national debates, 6 across the regions, 1 national, and then maybe take out like 10 top media houses for you to engage. So before you become president, you would have spoken to at least media houses and those debates put together, let's say 15 to 20. Because, Kayode, as you were talking, I was smiling and laughing because I like what you're saying is the truth, but it will never work. This crowd are the ones that these politicians can easily deceive. They cannot come here and sit with me and you and deceive us because we have facts, we have figures, we have numbers, we know some of the things they know, we know better than some of them do. They know some things better than we do. We will engage ourselves. People that will ask them serious questions, put them on their toes, look at their policies. So, for instance, I'm asking the opposition, I started something called my 5 tops of the week, and I'm asking, how would you make energy, electricity, PMS, diesel, food more affordable than what President Bola Tinubu has done with his policy to bring us where we are? It's not just about when we take over, it's going to get better. How is the question? So, Kayode, I totally agree with you that ideally we should not, people should not clap when it's not necessary. But these people are bought sometimes, they are organic sometimes. Whatever the man, he sneezes, they smile. He laughs, they clap, and all of that.
They didn't even let him speak.
So they won't even let him talk. They were just chanting. So it happens to the APC, it happens to the PDP. I feel that we should have a law. I don't know what to call that law, insisting that before you become president, you would have done 7 national debates across the geopolitical
Jeffrey,
zones.
before we get to that law,
people who can engage you will engage you.
Before we get to that law, it appears as if it's just you, myself, Kayode, maybe our other colleagues that can lead that debate. Those youths on the Kano grounds at that rally, chanting Obi, Obi, Kwankwaso. How many of them can ask questions of Obi and Kwankwaso, of welfarism, of liberalist ideas, of a rent economy, of other ideologies that form a political party? I guess that, you know, Kano youth should be reflecting on that, because that's the center, not just Kano now. The North is supposedly more politically savvy and advanced than even the rest of, you know, the country, and curiously so, because one would say that the rest of the country is more educationally ahead, but the North is political savvy. But how bright also are those youths as far as political ideas and ideology are concerned? And so perhaps they should be preparing for that.
Long and short, make sure you ask the questions, whether they're in power or not. Let us ask those questions. We'll continue to do our bit, but we'll draw the curtains at this moment. Thank you for being a part of the show. I'm Kayode Okikiolu.
Sunrise Daily is up next, so stay with Channels Television. I am Bukola Kuka.
Maybe Kayode, Bukola and I will need to lobby the National Assembly for a bill to be passed on minimum number of media engagement and national debates for governors, presidents, and maybe others before you contest elections. So that way, put your feet to the fire, not just shouting at campaign grounds. Enough of it. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. Enjoy your day.